we're ready to cover slip. I thought I'd just kind of walk you through. It's one of the most simple things really to do in the thin section process, but nevertheless you want to get it right, because look how much work we've done to get him to this stage. So let me move the camera ever so briefly and I'll give you a look of the layout in the fume cupboard. Whoops, there we go. Alright, I'll move my arm. Now, you can see I've got laid out on a blue towel 8 cover slips in sets of 4. And then I've got my thin sections here right before you. You're not getting all of those in the picture. But the reason, I'll move you back, that I set out the slips in groups of 4 is that if you try to line them up side by side, it is kind of difficult to clean them, and we have to clean them. And in this regard, we're not going to flood the cover slips with acetone. Really, they should be coming fairly clean in their wrapper, waiting for you to use, but you have to get the dust off. And there might be a chance that something on your glove got caught on the glass. So you literally take a wound up piece of tissue, spray it with acetone, and work from the top to the bottom in just slow circles down. Not a lot of vigorous rubbing, it isn't necessary. Just slow circles down the cover slip. And it should just take one go, possibly 2 if you're worried about seeing something. Another reason for 4 is I'm going to mix up a small half mix, really, 5 ml of resin. And I'll do 4 slides, and then I'll mix up another little container of 5 ml and do the last 4. It's just easier breaking it up that way. And remember, the moment you put your MEKP in your resin, it starts to cure. It starts to thicken and cure. Now, you don't want to use it so quickly. You'll mix up your MEKP. For 5 ml, it is 0.02 of a mil, or on the blowout pipette, it's going to be, let's get it over here. It's going to be 0.8. I think you can see that. It's going to be 0.8, but really that means 0.2 of 1 mil. Okay, again, I think I talked to you guys about the 10 ml mix, but I will put these all on the impregnation crib sheet for you, so you've got all the mixes. Okay, once it's mixed, let it settle in its container for a while. Let's try to get it in camera. And of course, while it's settling, you can clean the slides. Now again, we don't flood hand-finished, ready to cover thin sections. They're too thin. So again, it's simply loading up a tissue with acetone and pulling from top to bottom the oil. Careful not to go over your writing, because you should have cleaned that space to identify your slides with your pen with acetone previously, so you shouldn't need to clean it again. You always run the risk of, if you go over it, you're going to remove your writing, so you better remember what that slide is. Okay, so again, in this sense, I'm just going to clean 4 at a time to match our slips. Our resin has been setting. It's now ready because there's no air bubbles. And just like permanent mounting, I'll pick this up, but you'll leave the slide on the foil. You're going to pour a small line down the middle of the slide. Okay, just enough, not too much. You'll begin to get a feeling for that. And then you take your cover slip, which is clean, check it to make sure there's no oil or lint. Then flip the clean surface onto your thin section and wedge it on. I usually go from bottom to top and drop the slip. Now you'll see bubbles running away, and what you need to do is take your fingers and press in the middle and watch the bubbles run away. Recenter it on your glass and then give it another check for bubbles and just chase them away with your fingers where you see them, and recenter. You want to take this bit a bit seriously, because again, remember, there's nothing more disheartening than looking down the microscope and you see dust through the cover slip, or bubbles, or both. So take your time, chase the bubbles out. In my fume cupboard, this window lifts. I step under to do my last check, and I look at a different angle down onto my slides to make sure I don't see anything that, I'd not seen before. No bubbles or the slips not centered. And check every single slide in your row. And then it's simply just letting them cure for at least 20 minutes. Sometimes I go half hour plus, because what you want to do is check. I don't have a blade at hand, but check your slides with your blade. You want to peel off the excess of the top of the cover slip with your Stanley knife blade when the gel on the slides is set like a tough jello, if that makes any sense. It has just a tiny bit of give, but it's not sticky when you try to push at it. If it's a hard gel, not cured, but hard, then simply take your blade and you're going to start by pushing the edge of the blade, not too hard, and just peel off the resin, the excess resin on the top. Do all of the slides on the top surface, and then you're able to pick up your slide and you're going to take your blade and peel the edges, turning it as you go. Peel off the resin. It should just come off sometimes in one, and I'll put the excess back down on my foil. Then you go to the back of the slide after you've done all the sides and see if there's any excess on the back, and just clean it with the edge of the blade to the glass. When you're finished, bring it over to your blue towel and pop it down and let it sit and cure to hard. You want it to cure hard. You can do that to all your slides, and then I would say, at times at a push, I've left cleaning with acetone those slides to the next day. But if you let them cure for about an hour, you should be able to spray. Now this is when you get to flood. Your cured up, hard cover slip samples, you can flood with your acetone and clean the cured resin off of the surfaces and sides. And you know, it shouldn't take much because you did the majority of the work with your blade, but if you need to, you can just peel off any excess you didn't see the first time with your blade again. And that is it. I usually cut little pieces of record card to put behind each slide, and that goes in a sealed box. Usually the slides are bubble wrapped around and put in a sealed box for mailing. What I might do is just at the moment of, well, we'll take 2 short videos. I will set the camera up to watch me pour the resin and put the slide down, and then we'll turn it off, set the camera up again, and I'll let you watch me peel a couple slides. And then I believe that's it till we clean the machine. And there's some bug reports, but we'll get to it. All right. See you in a couple minutes.